Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be working on another restoration for a follower of the channel. This pony is coming from Sweden. Although, as you might see, it was not born in Sweden. I do these restorations for free, but as you can tell, it can take some time because this card was actually from last Christmas. I am so sorry for the delay, but thank you so much, Valentin, for trusting me again with one of your beautiful ponies. So let's see what we have here. For the first time, we're going to be working on a Minty. A baby Minty, sorry. Well, actually, we haven't done any Minties in the past, so first Minty, baby or otherwise. But this is quite a special one because it's coming from Greece. Like I said, it was born in Greece. It's a very rare pony and I am very happy we're going to do this restoration. Also because I get to talk for the first time about El Greco, which was the factory that made the ponies in partnership with Hasbro for Greece. There are actually two variants of this pony, one with light green hair and the other one with more aqua hair. I didn't actually realize this until much later, so I'm also going to show you how to dye hair. But first, let's start with some cleaning and some retrobrighting. Alright, so the skin of this pony is quite good, but I can see some yellowing, just a little bit of yellowing. Now, I don't want to damage anything, like the symbols or the eyes, so I'm not going to do a harsh treatment, but I am going to put the pony in the UV chamber for just one little session. We have done this a few times, but for those that are new to the video, what I do is apply some hydrogen peroxide cream on the pony. You can also use liquid. What you cannot use, should never use, is benzoyl peroxide or acne cream, because that is used sometimes for dolls, but it does not work for ponies. It will bleach the pony, but it won't do it immediately. It will do it after a few months, and by then it's just too late. I would love to have a little rhyming poem about benzoyl peroxide, so if you have any ideas, please let me know. Like, do not use blah 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 blah. Someone is having a chirpy morning. Okay, so we put the pony in the chamber. This is my homemade chamber. I need to make another one. This is looking terrible. And we will leave it there for just a few hours. I think I left it on one side for 4 hours, then I turned it and cooked the other side for another 4. Then wash thoroughly with water, and this is what the pony looks like now after the treatment. I think it is a noticeable difference, but it's more, I think, around the edges, like the neck and the legs. But anyway, I think we're ready to go to the next step, rehairing. First thing we need to do is remove the existing hair. Now, because I didn't do my research, you should always do your research, I thought this hair was white. I thought it was supposed to be white, like in the Hong Kong and other releases Minties. And I will tell you why. In the meantime, please forgive me for using this white hair. We will fix this in the next step. But for now, okay, let's talk about, very briefly, about yeah, sure. about El Greco, which was, like I said, the factory that made the My Little Pony for Greece. So as you might know, Hasbro, the manufacturer of My Little Pony, partnered with different local companies to reduce costs and, I don't know, make distribution easier, I guess, in those places. And what happened was that usually those companies chose to make some variants of the ponies that were in the guidelines for different reasons. Sometimes just because of local tastes. So, for example, in Greece, we have quite a few, we have a lot of original names in Greek, as you might expect, but we also have some original ponies that don't exist anywhere else. By the way, you can buy my hair on my Etsy shop. It is very soft nylon hair, milk silk nylon hair. So there are 2 adult Greek ponies that are were only available in the country. I will try to say the names. If I can't, I'll just call them the Easter ponies. One is Pascalitza and the other one is Lamberitza. Within the collector community, they are referred to, like I said, as Easter ponies or as Ladybug or Birthday. Greece has about, or we think at least 35 adult My Little Ponies, and of those 13 are baby ponies. So this Minty is one of those 13. Now, the reason I say about is because in the taxonomy of ponies, if you have a very slight difference, like for example, the hair of Minty might be light green or aqua colored, then do you have like one variant or do you have 2 variants? Maybe the factory ordered one color and then when they got it again the next month or year, it was slightly different shade. And this is why it's been so much fun writing my little book about all the My Little Ponies in the world, because there are so many variants, and where do you draw the line? Now, I was trying to find more information about El Greco factory in Greece, and I came across this site about Transformers, because they also used to make the Generation 1 Transformers in the country. And interestingly, they used to release some Transformers that actually came as gifts with Easter candles. From what I understand, in Greece it's common for godparents to gift a candle or lavada to the godchild, and it represents the light of resurrection, and it's considered like a very joyful part of the holiday, the Easter holiday. And this is the really interesting part, at least for me, is that the flame is passed like from candle to candle until everyone has a lit candle, and that is, well, the lit lambada, and then there are fireworks and people exchange like greetings and food, and it's, yeah, I had no idea that this was the reason behind the Easter ponies. And when I read this, it felt really special because it's the tradition itself, but also the little gift that you give to potentially a child or someone you really love. And of course, I don't want to compare such a big religious event to what we are doing here in the channel, but while running the little restoration shop, I get lots of messages from people explaining what they are going to do with the pony custom, and a lot of them are gifts for someone they love. And I don't know, maybe I'm being a little sentimental. Well, I am a sentimental person, but I feel like there are so many layers to this hobby, because you are using a toy that was probably just destined for the landfill and repairing it, but repairing it with a meaning, with an idea, with this purpose of either having something that you love and represents yourself, or something that someone else loves. And it's something you do with your hands, it's something you might do with things you have like lying around the house. And also I feel there is a lot of gifting in this community. Like almost every time I have bought ponies, I have received a little gift, maybe just like some candy or some chocolates or stickers or a little note. And I would try to do the same too, because it's, I don't know, maybe it's, I was going to say it's one of my love languages. All of the love languages are my love languages. But I think gifting was probably the earliest one for me. I had a friend, we had met in kindergarten when we were around 4. And I remember going to her house and her coming to my house. And the way we spent lots of time just playing and creating stories. We were both obsessed with, let me think about it in English, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And we would create all these stories where I was like, oh, I saw Raphael in the car driving by. And I remember thinking like, I am making this up, but I also believed it myself. It was such a nice feeling, like reality was a flexible thing. And one of the things we both really liked was stickers. Stickers were relatively cheap, I will say, for South America, and relatively easy to find, but we will also treasure them a lot, and we will exchange some of them. And anyway, I remember that every time I went to her house or she came to my house, we would gift each other something from like the things we had. In my previous video, I mentioned how ponies were apparently used in Venezuela as part of piñatas. You know, a piñata is made of like cardboard. It's something that you hit with a stick and then things fall out of it. We didn't have, I think most of us didn't have piñatas when we were kids, but we did have balloons filled with like little things, and then you will pop the balloons and candy and stuff will fall out. And also tiny plastic dolls. So I think one of the things we gifted each other the most were these little plastic dolls or whistles, and stickers or things we created, drawings. We both loved mermaids, so there were lots of mermaid drawings exchanging hands. I got carried away. I forgot that I was recording this for a video. And if you're looking at this, you might be thinking, wait, what is happening now? Well, as I hinted at the beginning, I realized that the Greek Minty, baby Minty, actually came in 2 variants, and both of them had green hair. Now, I don't have this shade of green, so I thought, why not try to recreate it? And the way I did this was by using some red dye. I'm seeing now in the video that I actually use like the regular one. I recommend the synthetic one, or the 1/4 synthetics. difficult word to say. I had retinted some pink hair in the past, so I knew this was going to stick. From what I can see in my pony, the color doesn't fade away. I haven't put the pony in the sun, which I would love to do before I do more of this to make sure that the color will stick. But I left the hair in cold water after tinting it with boiling water, and it seems to, yeah, once it's like in, it doesn't come off. So I hope, Valentine, you like this tone of hair. I tried to do something kind of in between the two variants, and it doesn't look super neat. The results are slightly patchy, I think, but because this is a restoration, maybe that's not a terrible thing. I mean, that's not for me to decide, really, that's for Valentine to decide. But I feel that the hair maybe not being perfect is okay, because this is a toy that has, what, is 40 years old. Anyway, I am quite happy with this result, and the next video you will see me trying to push this to the next level, and eventually my plan is to offer through the shop hairs in all colors you can imagine, but I want to do it in a systematic way, measuring and being very organized, and that is not my strength. So yeah, let's take it slowly, but there is a lot of potential here. You can create your own hair colors. Anyway, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, Anita and exchanging gifts and mermaids and teenage mutant ninja turtles. And I think this is common to all human beings, but there is a term that I really love. It's a term related to ASD or autism, and it's penguin pebbling. And it's how some people with autism express affection by giving like small little gifts like flowers or trinkets or pebbles, and I like giving little things that I find pretty, and I don't know why, but also sometimes when I give someone something like this, I say Geschenk, because I really love the word, the German word for present. Back to the pony, I considered retinting the hair in situ, leaving the hair like it was, the white hair, and just trying to get the color. But then I got really scared because this is not my pony, and I was scared of the dyeing the plastic, and that could be irreversible. So I thought, no, let's do things right. Let's go back, remove the white hair. I kept the tail because I'm gonna use it for another pony, but I used the new color. I'm not going to show you all this whole process because we already covered it with the white version, but one thing I decided also to do is to make the hair a little longer. That way the owner of this pony can decide if they want to cut it shorter or not, because I wasn't sure if the length that the baby pony came with was the correct one in a way, or if it had already been cut. So just in case. Another thing I noticed, and I'm not sure if this, I guess maybe because I used boiling water for the hair, for the tinting of the hair, it got a little curlier. I think, yeah, it makes sense, right? That if you use boiling water, the hair might retract like, I don't know how to explain it, and that's why we have some nice curls. But I felt like I almost didn't have to style this hair because it already had this beautiful natural wave. But I guess it's also something to keep in mind if you're going to retint your hair. It might not be as straight as it was before. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy with the way it turned up, and it was also easier to do the hair because of the curls. It was easier to pick up and then put back in the pony. I don't know, I am now kind of doubting myself and all my rants and the stories, and I know you have said that you don't mind me sharing these things. I don't know. I was talking to a friend recently, and I was telling her, because she's a really good storyteller, I was telling her like, oh, I wish I could like produce you and like, I don't know, make a podcast so you could share some stories. And she said something like, oh, I could never do what you do because I like talking to people like in face to face sort of, and I'm not very good at that. I do love talking to people, but I find it very difficult because of my social anxiety. But I found this way of communicating, and I know it's very one way, right? Because I'm just talking, and if you're watching this, you're, well, I was gonna say you're forced to listen, but you can also mute me and put some music in the background. And I wonder a lot whether this is a valid form of communication. And I know valid is not a good word to use when you're talking about like how you feel and who you are. This has been incredibly healing for me. The whole, like, the channel and the shop too, because I can see how people are like inspired by the videos and doing their own thing and doing such incredible things that I could never do. And with that and the occasional little letters or gifts that I get in the PO box, I feel so fulfilled. I feel so not alone, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is my better version, my non-masking I think that this rant is getting too much. Part of me hopes that maybe you feel a similar way, and this might be a tool to think about your own anxieties. I don't know, the creative process is so fulfilling in itself, but being able to share it in this way, and I know I keep thinking, is this the right way? I'm just talking to a microphone, but it is so much more than that too, because there is a community behind this. There's a community that I wouldn't have if I was doing this without the internet. And for someone like me who struggles so much to interact in real time, in real life, maybe, yeah, I keep thinking, is this a good step, or is this making me more isolated? But I don't think it is. This is making me really, really happy, and the fact that I can do ponies for other people is also making me really happy. I'm sorry about all of this. I will stop now. We will talk about the pony for a little bit, and we're almost done. As you can see here, I decided to repaint most of the symbol. I didn't want to overpaint, but at the same time I wanted the clovers to be very clear because they're so beautiful and they cover so much of the rump that I felt that I had to fix them as much as I could. And the color matching in this case was not terrible, so I'm very happy about that. For doing this, I used a mix of different acrylic paints. I will do the same for the eyes. I'm using a couple of different brands. I'm very happy with the Golden Maple and the Vallejo. So those are the two brands that I use the most, not sponsored. I would say they are on probably on the same level. They are very well pigmented, very well mixed, and I really like the air range. Well, all the ranges, but the air range already comes kind of a little watered down, just a tiny bit watered down, so you don't really need to add any more water to it, and I think that's a really good choice for repainting toys. Now for the process of painting itself, I try to do little tripods with my fingers, so I always have supports. I use my other fingers to support, like some to hold the brush, but others to create support, so I'm never kind of painting while floating. I don't know if this makes sense, but I found this very useful. I learned this from watching other people paint, because I never had a good pulse. I don't have a good pulse. I'm not very good with details, but this has helped so much. It has made a tremendous difference. The eyes are mostly similar to the Hong Kong ponies, but the eyelashes are different. I had the reference, you could see like the little faded version, not faded version, you could see the outline of the original eyelashes on the, let me see if you're looking at the pony, the left side. Those look okay, I think, in my repaint. The ones on the right side, I had no reference, and I think I went like kind of back to the generic pony eye, not so much the Greek eyes. If you are painting something and you are unhappy with the way it's looking, while the acrylic paint is fresh, you can remove it with some water, like maybe some tissue paper with a little bit of water. That should remove it. If it's dry, you can use acetone. Remember just that acetone will remove all paint, so only put it on the areas that you want to remove. And my last piece of advice, if you are painting, is trust the process. Be patient, trust the process, and you can always go back, you can always start from scratch, and you can always paint over your mistakes. So as you can see in this right eye, I made a lot of mistakes while I was painting, but I could go back with a different color and fix it a little bit, and if I made a big mistake, I knew I could wash it off. In this case, because it is still kind of fresh, the paint, you can wash it off with warm water. That way the original paint underneath will not be damaged. And yeah, just start again. Start again, like it's not going to be a super frustrating thing. It is going to be, but every time you have to start again, you have learned new things. You have leveled up your skill. Although one thing I do want to mention is because if you're interested in making customs or making repairs, but you don't have the ability to use your hands to this precision, I am working on some decals, some water slide decals for eyes. So hopefully that should help people do even more customs. All right, we are ready for the results. Let's go back to the original baby Minty. We had some faded hair, as we discovered later, some damage to the eyes and the symbols, and some yellowing, all of which have been addressed to some degree, and this is the result. Let's do a quick things I will do differently and things I'm happy with. I'm very happy with the eyes and the symbols. I think the painting for this project was okay, and the color matching. The hair could have been dyed better. I personally don't mind that there is some variation in the hair, that you can see some parts that are a little lighter than others. I feel it makes it more, I don't know if this is the right word, but dynamic. I was gonna say realistic, but I don't know if these are very realistic horses. But overall, I really had a lot of fun working on this pony. Thank you so much, Valentin, for trusting me with your Greek Minty. It was my first Greek pony, and yeah, I really loved it. So she's now on her way to you. I hope you like her as much as I do, because she's lovely. So yeah, if you have a pony that needs repair, please drop me an email. I might be able to help you, and otherwise I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week, and yeah, I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.